In this video, I'm going to show you how to fold an origami Santa designed by Peter Engel. I'll be using a square sheet of paper with a side length of 24 centimeters or 9.5 inches. And the Santa is then about 13.5 centimeters or 5.25 inch wide and 14.75 centimeters or 5.75 inch high. Now we're going to start with the white side up and crease the diagonals. Then we'll take one edge and bring it to the center line. Crease all the way. And now right where that crease meets that edge, we're going to add a horizontal crease. So first get that reference point on the edge. Then align edge with edge to get a nice horizontal crease, and then crease throughout. Unfold and repeat with this edge. So you have the diagonal here, do the next diagonal there. And again, this is your next reference point. So you're going to first catch it, and then align edge with edge and make a nice horizontal crease. So now you have these two diagonals. Now we're going to rotate 180 degrees so that they're right opposite, and then repeat the steps. Now, with the diagonals again lying like this, we're going to take the lower tip and bring it to this intersection, which is a bit above the central crease. So the crease you will create will go from this point over to that point. Then we will take this tip that overlaps that central crease line and fold it back. I'm just going to rotate the paper because I find it easier to fold away from myself. Then we're going to mark like just a small pinch mark on this section by bringing this edge to that folded edge. And then don't crease all the way, but just make a small pinch mark right there. And right through the pinch mark, with the intersection of this long crease line here that also goes through the tip, you're going to fold that tip back again. And again, it will overlap the central crease here, and we're going to fold it back. Then we're going to take this whole section and fold it back on the existing crease, like that. Unfold and repeat on this side. Once you've done that, you can fold in the other section again too. And now we're going to take each of these tips and fold them in. Now, if you have slight crease marks on these sections here because of kind of getting that small reference, let's put those in the top. I have very slight bends here. Then we're going to flip over, and now we're going to start to crease in this point right here, which is halfway, and bring this corner to have it lie on the central crease. And we're only going to crease up to this point right here. Unfold and do the same on the other side. And then we can bring in both sections. And then we have this flap here, which we squash fold. And there's already creases there. Then we're going to make a petal fold on this. So we'll take this edge and align it with the center to pre-crease. Same thing on the other side. Unfold, then lift this layer, bring the sides inside, and then form a tip right here. And you might have to straighten this out a little to get nice, precise creases. And then you can fold this flat. Then we're going to flip this over and rotate. And we have a long crease line right here. We're going to bring that section from the back to the front while folding along that crease. You see that? It's going along that crease line. Kind of push those sections in. Now we're going to unfold this top flap, and we can actually pull out these sections. There you go. You have creases there already, so you can just press them flat a little. Now we're going to make a color change on this section here. So for that I'm just going to pull this out, pull that out, and open this up a little so that we can grab that single layer of paper. And we're just going to pull it out and then push the paper back together along the creases we already had. And then you have this white paper, and we're again going to petal fold it up. You can see this tip right there. We're going to fold it to the top too. Now I'm going to zoom in on this section right here. So we're going to form the button of the Santa next. So first we'll take this section, we'll make a small pinch mark to get the middle, and then bring that point to the center. Do a small pinch mark again. And now we're going to take this tip and fold it down. And depending on how far down you fold it, the button is going to be larger or it's going to be smaller. So I'm going to fold it down so that it doesn't quite meet that quarter mark. Next you're going to take this edge right here and bring it to the central crease. I'm just going to rotate this a little to make it a bit easier. These are small folds, but I hope you'll still be able to see what I'm doing. There you go. And same thing on the other side. Taking that edge right there, the top, and bringing it to the center. And making a strong crease. So it looks like this. Then unfold, bring to the top. Now we're going to go along those creases we made. So I'm going to take one layer, opening this up, and I'm going along those creases. You see that? Those are the two creases we made. And I'm just going to make an inside reverse fold. So then it looks like this. Then we're going to fold this section here down. And then we're going to fold over. Like that. And then we're going to take this layer of paper and pull it out. And again, go along those creases we made. Can you see that? Those are the creases. And again, you're making an inside reverse fold and folding the paper down. So now it's symmetrical. You can fold that to the other side so that you have that vertical crease on both sides, and then we're going to make a small squash fold right there. Just pressing that paper down. And then the button is done, and we'll be hiding it away under these layers of paper. There we go. And I'm zooming out again. So just make sure that that button is hidden away so it doesn't distract us. Now we can fold this top section down along this edge right there. And unfold. Then we can flip this over, and now we're going to align this point with that point over there, and we're going to make a crease just on this section. So we're aligning the 2 points, and here on part of the paper there's already a crease, so you can check whether you've got your references right by checking those crease lines. And then make a crease throughout, unfold, rotate, and repeat. And then we can fold both sections in, forming a preliminary base right there. And we're going to make a petal fold, which is actually already prepared. You can see crease lines here and there. So just push the paper up and bring the paper inside. It's already creased in the top, and we're just going to add those creases down here. Then we're going to take this flap and we're going to fold it so that the edge we create aligns with those edges in the back. That's one side, and same thing on the other side. Now we're going to take this one layer and make an inside reverse fold, similar to what we did with the button, but this time we're not going to fold the section down, but we're immediately going to fold it over. And then again take one layer to pull the paper out, and again make that inside reverse fold. You might have to kind of straighten out that paper there. And there we go. That's kind of preparing the hat. Now let's take these white sections and hide them behind the coat. There we go. Now we're going to take this lower point and we're going to fold it up so that it meets this point kind of where that collar ends. And make a sharp crease. There's quite a lot of layers here. Same thing on the other side. Now unfold, and that crease meets on this edge right here. I'm going to make a crease from this point up to the end of that collar. Like that. And this is not going to be in a 90-degree angle. It's not going to meet this crease right here. There's going to be a gap. Same thing on the other side. Now comes probably the most difficult step of the model, so let's pay close attention. We're first going to just lift this layer and go along that crease we just prepared, only below, like that. And then we're going to kind of release that paper here and push it over. But right here you can see this red layer. And there's a white layer. The white layer goes to the top and the red layer goes below. See that? So that's the white layer and the red layer separated. And we're going to push that red layer down so that this is flat. There is no crease here. There's a crease line, but there's not going to be an edge here. And then we flatten that. Check that this is still okay. Let's put that to this side and we flatten this. So that's the first part of the step. And now comes the tricky part. So we're going to start a crease down in this point right here. And we're going to swing the paper over and fold it out as far as possible. Now, as you will see, there's this red paper which we just brought down, and we need to squash it. So there's paper tension here, and that paper tension is going to determine how far out we can fold this. So, try to form a point here and there, and once you have that, you flatten out the paper and you flatten it all the way. And it's difficult, so if it doesn't work right away, don't give up. So again, we're going to fold this in. We're going to ensure that the white layer is separated and bring the red layer down. Flattening that paper completely. There's actually that small fold on this tip. Let's just get rid of that. There we go. Flatten that paper. And then start a crease in this point. And fold out as far as that paper will let you, without having a drip, of course. There we go. I folded this a couple of times, so if it's not as quick and easy for you on your first try, that's totally normal. Now let's take this hat and fold it open like that, so that we can work on it in a little bit. But let's first form the arms. So you can see there's two layers here, and we're going to take both of them and fold them down along this edge right here. And we're going to have to do a small squash fold in this section. Folding it down, you can see that pressure here, and it's going to form a tip right here. Once we have that, let's fold this back. And same thing on the other side. fold down along the edge, make a squash fold, and fold up. Because before we complete that, we're going to do a small color change to have the gloved hands. So for reference, I'm going to take the halfway point between these two, just making a small pinch mark right there. And then I'm going to fold edge upon edge, meeting that pinch mark. You can fold more or less, this is just a shaping detail, but I like to give references in case you're not sure how far you should go. Once you've got that, you can open these layers a bit and turn the paper inside out along that crease. So you've got that crease line right there, and you just fold along it. Can be a little tricky, but you just flip it over like that. There you go. And once you've got that done, you can ensure that the layers are distributed as before by taking this and kind of bringing it in. And then you can fold this down again and put it inside that pocket to lock the arms and not have them separate as much. And push closed like that. There you go. And I've got some imprecision here. I'm just going to hide that away by folding it inside. No one's gonna know. There you go. And let's do the same on the other side. Just like that. So after those tricky steps, I think we've deserved a break. Let's work on the hat, because it's always pleasing to finish a section of a model. So we're going to fold this in, as far as you like. I'd say less than a quarter. I'm just going to fold in a little tip. It's going to determine how big that furry white end of the hat's going to be. We're going to open both layers and fold back along that crease we just made. And then close again. And then we're going to fold this down in an angle. And really, you just want this to look nice. And it just depends on what you like best. So how about that angle? I like that. There you go. Now, next, we're going to work on the beard and the head. For this, we're first going to get some paper out of the way. This coat is a bit in the way. So we're just going to fold this up. And if you want, you can avoid making a very strong crease here, because it's going to show up on the coat. But for ease of presentation, I'm actually going to make a sharp crease here, just because it's easier when that paper is out of the way, so that I can capture nicely on camera what's happening. This is the beard section. We're going to fold it down as far as it goes. And then we're going to take this edge and bring it to the crease line and just crease like the very first section here. You don't have to crease all the way, because that would show up in the beard. So I'm just creasing it right here. And same thing on the other side. There we go. Now let's fold both of those sections in a little. You see that? And then we're going to bring the collar back down. The coat, but especially the collar. Actually, on second thought, we're actually going to fold that beard back and then make the pinch marks in the other direction. Sorry about that. so that we have those two pinch marks. We fold those down and then we close the collar. Fold those down and close the collar. Now we want to make a crimp so that kind of that beard overlaps the collar. So I'm just going to zoom in on this section. So you can see here, we kind of have that folded in, the collar is on top, and I'm just, because we're going to use some tools in a second in any case, at least it makes things easier. I'm just going to use this now to kind of push out that paper a little, so that, you know, I can form a crease that starts right in this point. So I've got this closed, and then I'm just going to press a crease in there and fold it down. You see that? And that kind of shapes the beard. And you can choose, you know, what angle you really like. And then the same thing on the other side. And you can also go in with your finger rather than using a tool. And then again, press that flat. And once you've got both of those, let me just rotate. There you go. Can you see that beard? And then we can press this down, make a crease right here. Now we're going to take the coat away again, get it out of the way. Make sure that you have very strong creases here. You really want to have strong creases for the next step, because we're going to unfold this, and then we're going to go between these two layers, right there. Push one to the top and one to the bottom. There you go. And same thing on the other side. Going to open and then push like that. And now you have small creases that we just folded when we did kind of the shaping of the beard. We're going to go along them. You see that? Just going along that crease, going along that crease. They already exist and hopefully are quite strong. And then it looks like this. Now we're going to push this flat so that we want to push this together. Can you see this? And we're going to have creases right here along existing crease lines. It's all already prepared, just some creases don't have the correct direction yet. These ones in particular, the one in the bottom rather than the top. And then once you've got those creases in place, you can, I'm not sure how to show this without hiding it, push this together like that. Can you see that? Perhaps that's a good angle. And then you push it down. Same thing on the other side. You push it in, you push it together, and then you push it down. You can try and tidy that up, although really you're not going to see it too much. And then you push this down and push it flat. Now you've separated these two layers. Can you see this? They're kind of not connected. And that allows us to shape the head by taking this layer right here and folding it back like that. You can see in the back here, you're kind of taking that flap right here and folding it. And as you can see, it's quite possible to do this without a tool. So I'm going to do that on one side. Just folding this back, and there might be kind of some folding back and forth in the inside. And there you go. But it's quite difficult to kind of really get that crease in there as far as I'd like. So I'm just going to undo this fold a little. And if you have a handy tool, like I do right here, you can take these tweezers and go inside those layers. Can you see that? I'm going here inside and there inside. Go all the way, and then you can bend this back. And then you can see you can get a much tighter forming of the face here. And I prefer that. And you kind of fold this in as far as you can, and you'll kind of have a bit of a section probably still appearing here. We're going to hide that in a moment. There you go. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Going inside the layers, right there. You see that? Going inside the layers. Going inside the layers here. And folding this behind. Like that. Now you can take this layer right here, pull it out, and put it above that other layer so that we're hiding that small overlap right here too. You can see that. Pulling it and putting it on top. There we go. And now we can zoom out again. Next, we can close that coat again. Perhaps we can finish the hat now, just kind of as a reward to finishing that beard. And we're going to make a valley fold between this point and that point, which is kind of the widest point of the head. So let's make a crease and then fold back just with a very narrow gap so that we have a nice wide fur trimming of the hat, and then that hat is done. So now we can work on the legs. We're going to fold them up, that's already creased, and then we're going to fold them down, starting a crease in this point. And as a reference, you can use any angle you like. But if you want a reference, I actually kind of make this crease end in the point where you kind of have this diagonal crease. And that just helps get the same angle on both sides. But if you feel like folding a different angle, it's just a shaping detail. Same thing on the other side. Start a crease in the center and then fold so that that point we're creating lies on that diagonal. And make a very strong crease here because there's many layers and we want to make a small lock for the coat too. But first let's unfold, open up, and then go along the creases. In the front you have just one layer, in the back you have all the remaining layers, and push the paper inside, like that. Same thing on the other side. There you go. Now this coat tends to open, so we're going to solve that by taking this section of paper right here and pulling it out. And you can see there's a valley fold and a mountain fold. And we're going to change that so that it's a mountain fold and a valley fold. And you're going along exactly the same creases. And that just helps with a lock. So press that flat really strongly and repeat on the other side. Pull out and reverse by changing the valley fold to a mountain fold and the mountain fold to a valley fold. Sorry, it's kind of hidden away in the model a little. Now, before we go any further, let's finish the feet. For this, we're going to, again, perhaps use a reference. I'm going to take the halfway point of this inside of the leg, and then I'm going to start a crease in that point so that we get, well, roughly a right angle right here. It's just a shaping detail, so really you can do whatever you feel like here. Going to unfold, open up, and outside reverse fold to get a nice color change. There we go. And repeat on the other side. There you go. Now you can take kind of this crimp on the coat and put it inside that small pocket that we created. And that locks the coat. And same thing on the other side. And you see the difference? It's really nicely closed. And then here in the top, let's take out the button, and I put the collar between the two layers of the beard. Same thing on the other side, so that the beard again gives us a nice lock. Now, depending on how imprecisely you fold it, like I've got quite a bit of imprecision here, I actually like to push that paper in a little and then change that crease a little. I find it quite difficult to fold precisely in videos because I can't quite as nicely catch references. I'd have like my head hiding everything. So, you know, there's a quick fix. And then let's bring the arms inside, you know, in any angle you like. I actually see that there's a slight unfolding of these layers of hiding and locking the arms. If that happens, don't worry, just refold it. So I'm going to start a crease in this point up here, and then bring inside the arm in an angle that I like, and then unfold a little like that, and same thing on the other side. Kind of bringing that in, making a long, strong crease, and then unfolding it a little like that. And then your Santa, designed by Peter Engel, is all done. Now, this is such a nice Santa, you might want to hang it from your Christmas tree. So here's one idea. If we turn this over, we can see we created two pockets when folding the arms. And depending on the size of your Santa, a paper clip just bent a little into something that kind of looks quite similar to a clothes hanger can be tucked inside and used. So let me quickly show you what this looks like. These two sections of the paper clip are untouched because we want to tuck them in. You can see here, that's how it kind of goes inside. And then I went out a little so that it has a little distance to the Santa when you actually hang it, and then up, and then I formed a loop. Now I'm going to try and show you, but I'll show you with a slightly larger clip because that's a bit easier on camera. And I'll zoom in too. So first we're going to take this intersection right here and we're going to bend it out so that it's straight. Just going to take some pliers here and bend out so that we have more wire to work with. Of course, you know, if you have some wire, you can use that. Then we're going to take about the halfway point and then bend up. I think that's about right. And bend up. Now, to have kind of that small distance, we're going to make this perpendicular. So I'm going to take this and bend it so that it's perpendicular, maybe a little more even. You can see that. There you go. And now I'm going to have a small gap and then bend up again. And we can't leave too much of a gap because we need some space to form the loop. But, you know, you can use a little. And now, to form the loop, just in the top, make that, you know, have a small section, and then make a loop depending, you know, on which direction you want it. Do you want it going like to the back, or do you want to have it going to the side? So if you want to have it going to the side, you'd obviously bend like this. And if you want to have it going to the back or to the front, you go like that. So I'm just going to bend it that way. It really depends on, you know, what you want to hang it on. And then there you go. And then you have your small clothes hanger. And that too, of course, you can use. Just flip that over, put it inside, and then you can suspend it, put it on your Christmas tree or whatever. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, you know, there's tons of books by Peter Engel which you might enjoy. So one is Origami, From Angelfish to Zen. It's actually one of the first books I folded from when I started with origami, so I'm especially fond of it. And two more recent publications are Tenfold Origami. I showed the hatching chick from this book actually, and Origami Odyssey, and I showed a begonia leaf from this book. So if you enjoy Peter Engel's work, I do recommend you check out these books, and they might even make a perfect Christmas present. So see you around, and happy folding!